If you want to run ads successfully on YouTube or on Facebook or TikTok or any other ad platform that is algorithm based, you really need to understand how the algorithm works. Now, I have some unique insight into this that most marketers don't, because I actually used to work doing data science and I built algorithms like this. So I understand it better than most, and it's a little bit tricky to wrap your head around. But if you do understand it, then you're far more likely to be successful because you get what it's doing. Because the algorithm's kind of a black box, the algorithm is deciding who to show your ads to and how much to charge you for it, and you don't really get a whole lot of visibility into how that works. So let me explain it as best as I can. And I'll try to keep it as simple as I can. It's a little complicated, but I'll do my best here. So the algorithm is essentially, it's a robot that is looking for, or a computer program rather, that's looking for patterns. So specifically, it's looking for patterns of what type of inputs produce an output. In this case, the inputs are data, characteristics about the person and about their viewing behavior. So like, how old are they? Where do they live? What kind of videos do they watch? How long do they watch the videos? What videos have they watched recently? And if it's Google, then like, what have they searched for recently? Where have they been driving and using their GPS? What have they been browsing in Google Chrome? What have they been reading in their Gmail email address, etc.? They have all this data about people, a scary amount of data, and all of these data are inputs. Now the output is whatever you tell the ad algorithm to optimize for. So if you say to optimize for sales, then it's going to try to find the combination of inputs that is most likely to produce the output, the desired output, which in this case is a sale. If you set the desired output to a lead, it's going to try to get and it's maximizing for price, or minimizing price rather. So it's going to try to find who are the people that I can reach, or like what inputs, what characteristics of person is most likely to buy this offer, to click on this ad and then buy this offer at the minimum possible cost per sale. Now, that what you're optimizing for could be a sale, it could be a lead. If it's a lead, then the algorithm is going to try to get you the minimum possible cost per lead. If you're optimizing for clicks or for web page views, then it's going to optimize for the minimum possible price per click or per web page view. Or if it's just for video views, what is who can I show it to that's going to actually watch the video at the minimum price? Now, which of those you choose makes a difference, because different people have different behavior. So it's going to start noticing, whatever you choose, it's going to start noticing the pattern. It's going to start noticing that people with these characteristics, that watch videos at this time, that watch this type of video, that read this type of email, etc., these people tend to respond better than this other group over here that doesn't respond. And so it's going to show the ad to more of the people who respond and less of the people who don't respond. Now, you want to make sure that the people who do respond are the people that are your target customers, especially if you're optimizing for leads, because you can get leads and you can have an ad that gets leads really well and end up with a bunch of people that are broke, or the people that are just unqualified in some way to get your offer. And in fact, because we're looking to minimize price, that's what the algorithm is doing. It's looking to minimize the cost per lead in this case. It's going to show your ad to the people that are cheapest to reach, and the cheapest and the most likely to engage, right? The most likely to respond. It's both of those. The people who will become a lead at the lowest price. Well, part of the price determination is how much competition is there. So if a whole bunch of other advertisers are trying to advertise to a particular person, then the price of that person to advertise to that person is going to be high. Basic supply and demand. If very few advertisers are trying to advertise to that person, then the ad costs are going to be very low. So for example, if you're running your ads to the USA, the ad costs are going to be pretty high because there's a lot of people that are running ads to Americans. If you're running ads to a very poor country, then the ad costs are going to be very low because everybody knows that those people don't have much money, and so they don't bother spending money on advertising to them. And then, of course, that works within the population as well. So if you're advertising to people, let's say you're just advertising in the USA, well, the ad algorithm is going to optimize for the cheapest possible leads. And the lowest competition is usually the people that don't have any money. And remember, this is Google, or in Facebook. Facebook has some idea of this. It doesn't know as well as Google does. But generally, the people that have the least money are the ones that are going to be the cheapest to advertise to. And so you got to be really careful, because oftentimes the leads that are the cheapest are the least desirable, the ones that are just gonna waste your time and never gonna buy anything from you. And so you gotta work around that, because it's very easy for the algorithm to start noticing the pattern of, okay, these cheap people, or these low income people, are the people that I get the cheapest leads for, so I'm gonna just keep on bringing more and more and more of those people. So you got to understand this, because you have to know how, like, you got to get those people to be non-responsive. That's the secret here. You got to use messaging that does not appeal to people that don't have money, or people that you're not interested in working with. And you got to be very, like, do everything you can to get those people to not be interested in your ad. You're not trying to please everybody here. The better you can do at pushing away the people that you don't want, the more the ad algorithm is going to start to learn. Okay, poor people are not interested in this offer, and the better it'll get. Now, let's talk about what you optimize for. So you can optimize for views, you can optimize for clicks, for leads, for sales. So it's tempting to just run in and optimize for sales, because ultimately what you want is sales, right? For most people, what they want is sales. The problem is, though, that you have to get a certain amount of data before it can start to really notice any patterns. So if you have an offer that, let's say your offer is $5,000, well, you might have to spend $500 or $1,000 on ads just to get one sale. And with one sale, once you do that, let's say you spent $1,000, you got one sale. Well, $1,000 in ad spend has gotten you very little in terms of pattern recognition, right? So it's hard to notice a pattern when you only have a sample size of one. Really, you need to get at least like 50 for it to start noticing a pattern. Preferably, and the more you get, the more it's going to get better at noticing that pattern. So it's really hard to start noticing a pattern with sales right off the bat. So you probably want to start with something more upper funnel. So I usually start my campaigns going for leads. Now the exception to this is if you have a low ticket front end offer. So you sell something for $10 on the front end, well, you can get sales on that fairly easily. And so it can start accumulating data without you having to spend a ton on ads. But if you have a high ticket offer, like a back end offer, and you don't have a low ticket front end offer, you're just getting leads, and then you want to convert those leads into your high ticket offer, then what you probably want to do is start by optimizing for leads and make sure that you get your messaging right, so that you're getting rid of all the people that are just going to waste your time and not going to be your customer. You get it in the habit of finding the leads for the lowest possible cost, and then that gives it an indication of who is likely to be interested in buying. They haven't bought yet, most of them, but they're likely to be interested in buying. And then once you start doing that for a while and you start getting some sales from those leads, and then you've accumulated, let's say, 50 sales, then you can just recreate the same exact ad campaign, but now you target it to optimize for sales instead of optimizing for leads, right? And so there's various other use cases, like you can optimize for video views if you want to build your brand. So most small business owners aren't really that interested in branding, but it can be. There are some like more advanced strategies you can do where, like, if you're a consultant like I am, and I've done this before, I'll run videos that are optimized for video views. So I'm trying to get the cheapest possible video view rather than a lead or a sale. And what I want is the most people to actually see my face and hear my voice and listen to me and kind of think in their head, okay, that was interesting, that guy knows his stuff. That's the idea. And then what I do is I retarget those people, which means I run ads to the people that already watched my video view ads. And the retargeting ads are optimized for sales or optimized for leads. So you can do that as well. There's a bunch of ways to do it, but you got to be really intentional about it, or else you'll end up just blowing a whole bunch of money and getting nothing in return. Or worse, you get a whole bunch of poor quality leads that just waste your time and clog up your CRM. So if you would like to run YouTube ads and you don't want to have to figure all this out for yourself with years of painful trial and error like I did, I can help you. I'll put a link in the description where you can book a call with me. Or if you just want to learn a little bit more about my method and how it works, then I'll also put a link in the description where you can download my YouTube ads guide absolutely for free. And then if you like it and you'd like to talk to me about working with me further, then we can talk about that as well. But make sure that you understand this and rewind this video, watch it again if you need to. If you're going to run your own ads, if you're going to do it without help, because this is absolutely crucial to being successful on YouTube or on any other algorithm-based platform. So I hope this was helpful, and I'll see you in the next one.